my song. Let's sing it. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Come on, it's gonna be fucking awesome. You know the words. It's gonna be fucking awesome. That's insane. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Yeah!
Hey, coolest geeks. It is me, your fellow coolest geek, Jesse Blaze Snider. What you up to? Having a good one? I'm doing all right. My family and I watched the Jake Paul-Mike Tyson fight this past weekend, which was... I mean, the girls' fight before the Jake Paul-Mike Tyson's fight was pretty good, but oh man. I mean, scripted, took a dive, whatever you want to say. Turns out Mike Tyson was paid a significant amount more to not knock Jake out. In order to make the most amount of money that Mike Tyson could possibly make, he had to go all 8 rounds and never knock Jake out. It was in his contract. If he had, say, knocked Jake out in the first round, he would have gotten paid the least. Yeah, think about that. It's pretty rough. Anyway, I wasn't sure what I was going to do today's show on until this morning, or this morning, was it yesterday? And I saw that they are doing reshoots on Captain America 4 once again. And this is the 3rd time. And there is so many stories that have led to this moment with this 3rd bit of reshooting. Now, we're kind of like living in a different time to a certain degree right now. And it's because, Trump and now, people are seeing a little bit more so that, like, the temperature of the room has changed. And it hasn't changed. It's been changed for a very long time. The temperature of the room was this. Just more people mobilized to get up and make a statement about it by voting. But I tell you, I'm promising you, the temperature of the room has been this. The more liberal, extreme liberal, and again, remember, Jesse's a very extreme liberal. I am. I'm just not a pushy liberal, and I don't believe in that. I think that's really bad. It's a bad sales pitch for the most liberal and crazy ideas on planet Earth. To be really pushy against people with more traditional ideas. It's a bad idea. So I don't like that, even though I'm a very liberal guy. So the liberal thing is like a hive mind. And they've basically the rich people have pumped a lot of money into it, a lot of money into propping up these voices that are not mainstream voices. They are maligned, smaller, less important energy in the room. But the liberal media is propping them up huge. And then on top of it, in social media, they will put you into rooms with people who agree with you and people who are diametrically opposed to you so that you feel backed up by the crowd around you, but good enough to go and attack at the people who are different than you. This drives engagement. They've really been playing a particular game with the liberals who are living in an illusory social media world filled with bots and everybody else who happens to parrot what they parrot and being shown to them all the time. So they think, this is the reality that we're living in. It's not. It's not the reality. The reality is much less woke, much less concerned about... I really think we've all been worked into a craziness about Trump and a craziness about the Republican. Oh my God, what a look. That side wins. You know what they're going to do. That side wins. You know what I mean, both sides freaking talk about this stuff like crazy, just so hyperbolic. Like it's the end of the world if the one side gets the other. Most of us really liberal people, we're not like super fucking policy oriented. We want to go trash Trump. We don't fucking know what we're talking about. And I'm lumping myself in there. I mean, sometimes I do know what I'm talking about of these things, and I'll look into these things and investigate. But in general, that's not my main primary concern. You know, the only reason I'm excited about Trump's presidency right now is because RFK Jr. is in there, and RFK Jr. is somebody who cares about our health and the medical system and the food system. And I have 4 children. I want our food system to be clean. We have way too many chemicals and things in the food supply that shouldn't be there. So, you know, that's exciting to me. That's clear and present. That's something that me, a liberal person, really cares about. But when it gets down to some of these policies, and I don't know if a tariff is going to do anything good or if a tariff is going to do things, but it's a lot of people talking out of their asses, especially because half the people who are talking about financial things have a financial interest in what they convince you to think. So whenever you're hearing anybody talking about finances and the business, this law or that law, or this bill or that bill, what should we pass, what shouldn't we pass, recognize anybody you're hearing from, if you're talking about finances, they have a stake in whether or not these laws get passed, whether or not this legislation is made real or vetoed. It matters to them in a very big way. And it's basically impossible to not get a biased person when you're looking into this like business world and, you know, all this, like the left side wants to tell you how their business practices are so great and the right's business practices are ludicrous, and the right side wants to tell you the same thing. Those guys are crazy. To a certain degree, I've come to feel that those guys are crazy. That is probably true when it comes to financial shit, is actually the Democrats. And we don't really have the greatest people to stand up and defend the things we do, the positions we take. And most of them tend to result in the rich and more powerful becoming rich and more powerful than they were even before. And this idea of like all these, like Donald Trump empowering all of his billionaire friends. Donald Trump is poor compared to the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers and all these people on planet Earth. The rich that keep getting richer are them. We're not talking about fucking Donald Trump when you talk about the rich getting richer. That's not the rich getting richer. He's not a Rockefeller. He's not a Rothschild. He does not have the trillions of dollars that is at play here. He's not actually one of those guys. The trillionaires are the rich getting richer. We still have this old view of what rich means. Like people think my dad, D. Snider, is a celebrity, right? He's rich. He's not fucking rich. You know? He has enough money that he's not fucking destitute and poor and broke, and you know he's able to like go on vacation sometimes and do things with his family, whereas other people are really struggling to do that shit. That is the truth. That is the reality. So all the people who want to conversate about all this, the business side and all that, it's crazy. The bulk of the conversation is being had by noisy liberals who have social media accounts and are in the entertainment industry, and their business is like attached to it. If I was more beholden to the business industry, I wouldn't say so many of the things that I say. I couldn't. I literally would be shooting myself in the foot every single time I open my mouth. The only reason why you hear me speaking such sense is because I am not beholden to any money. There is nobody who will take money away from me for speaking sense and truth. I, in fact, get paid to speak sense and truth. Through this podcast, I'm able to be free about this stuff. Hey, everyone. With the holidays creeping up faster than your aunt's fruitcake recipe, I've got something way better to share with you. If you want to look sharp for all those festive gatherings and maybe finally win that Best Groomed award at the family dinner, check out Manscaped's latest masterpiece, the Chairman TM Pro Package. Trust me, it's like Rudolph for your face, guiding you to a smooth, irritation-free shave. Head over to manscaped.com and join the over 11 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by using code CGA for 20% off and free shipping. The Chairman TM Pro has 2 interchangeable skin-safe blade heads. They're like grooming superheroes for when you want that baby's bottom square-jawed smooth. Or, if you want to look like a brooding 90s superhero, use the skin-safe stubble trimmer for some clean but natural masculine stubble. Both keep you looking sharp while minimizing razor burn and irritation, because nobody wants to show up to the holiday party looking like they lost a fight with their cat mittens. Plus, their Flex Adjust technology is a holiday shaving miracle. Yeah, like the elves made it just for you. The blades and pivoting head adjust to every curve of your face. So go ahead, kiss that awkward jawline patch goodbye. No more pretending it doesn't exist while you hope nobody notices under the mistletoe. The Chairman TM Pro is also waterproof, easy to clean with a simple rinse, and powerful enough to tackle up to 5 days worth of hair growth. And with up to 75 minutes of runtime on a single charge, you'll have plenty of juice to go from Santa's beard to smooth as a snow angel. Plus, this package also includes the Power Shave Gel. This non-irritating, lubricating formula is made specifically to work with the Chairman TM Pro, providing a smooth and comfortable shave. Packed with skin-soothing ingredients that defend against redness and irritation, and it's dermatologist tested for sensitive skin. And to finish it off, we've got the Face Shave Soother. This aftershave serum is a game changer. Use it after shaving to hydrate your skin and soothe any post-shave irritation. It's designed to help reduce redness and defend against ingrown hairs and razor bumps. So, get the Chairman TM Pro package today and experience a shave that is smooth as you deserve. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code CGA at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with the code CGA at manscaped.com. There has been an illusory idea, and very much so the liberals have been pumped up. I was speaking last week about, what's her name? Grace Randolph, explaining that they have not been able to properly evaluate the landscape, the energy in the room. And this is no more true, obvious, whatever you want to say, in the case of Captain America, Brave New World, or New World Order, or whatever the fuck they changed the subheadline for this movie multiple times. This is the Falcon as Captain America movie coming soon to a theater near you, in theory. This movie started its production and shooting, I think, like 3 years ago now. And it was finished before anybody even knew, before any leaks had come from the set, like anything. It was finished. And all of a sudden, the leaks were that it was being test screened. Well, the test screenings did not go well. The rumors at the time were particularly scathing, and it's hard to nail down these things, but I can tell you based on some of the rumors about the content of the film that this makes much sense to me. And the rumor was that the initial screening of Captain America 4, the audience's scores and reactions were worse than the Marvels. And apparently, in the Marvels, it was one of the first screenings ever where they went out of their way to try and get amiable audience members into the audience for the test screening to artificially inflate the numbers to the Marvels. This didn't work, and they received some of the worst audience scores to date. There was a lot of changes and adjustments or edits to the film or whatever based on some of these things, but not like Captain America 4. That movie received worse audience scores than the Marvels, which had been given an advantage that they handpicked the critics who were put to see the Marvels. So they don't handpick the Captain America ones for more favorable people. And it ends up even lower than what had been the lowest, the Marvels. And why is this? Well, why did I spend all that time talking about how the liberal Americans amongst us were not reading the room? They were not able to read the room. They weren't getting a fair assessment of the room. according to the room they were in, the best thing to do with Captain America 4 was turn the president into Donald Trump and make it about race. Falcon Cap, he's black. Steve Rogers was white. Still, the vestigial tales of this terrible idea, as we now know what a terrible idea that is, flash forward 3 years later, as an overwhelming majority, a landslide, as many say, voted for Trump, and they have him set up as the bad guy. Still, to a certain degree, set up as the bad guy. Red Hulk is both the president and the antagonist for this movie. They're promoting a fight between the president and Captain America. What the fuck is that? Isn't that fundamentally living in this Trump derangement syndrome world? If the president's the bad guy, spark something uncommon this holiday with just the right gift from Uncommon Goods. The busy holiday season is here, and Uncommon Goods makes it less stressful with incredible hand-picked gifts for everyone on your list, all in one spot. Gifts that spark joy, wonder, delight, and that "it's exactly what I wanted" feeling. They scour the globe for original, handmade, absolutely remarkable things. Somehow, they know exactly the perfect gift for every single person you know. Here's a few of my favorite gifts that I found on their site, like various kits for all your favorite craftspeople. Whether they like cooking, drawing, or mixing drinks, you'll find tons of great new art projects for your creative friends to start in the new year. My daughter Logan loves to be crafty, and this year I'm only going to need one place to get all her Christmas shopping done: Uncommon Goods. Plus, customizable everything from personalized coffee cups and wine glasses with your name on it, kitchen and bathroom decorations specific to your state, personal philosophies, or favorite sports team. Trust me when I say Uncommon Goods has more items than you may even imagine that can be made your way right away. When you shop at Uncommon Goods, you're supporting artists and small independent businesses. Many of their handcrafted products are made in small batches, so shop now before they sell out this holiday season. Uncommon Goods looks for products that are high quality, unique, and often handmade or made in the U.S. They have the most meaningful, out-of-the-ordinary gifts anywhere. And with every purchase you make at Uncommon Goods, they give back $1 to a non-profit partner of your choice. They've donated more than $3 million to date. To get 15% off your next gift, go to uncommongoods.com/CGA. That's uncommongoods.com/CGA for 15% off. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. Uncommon Goods. We're all out of the ordinary. Let's just go back a couple steps. Was Thunderbolt Ross, Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, is he... And granted, if you don't remember, Betty Ross, which is Bruce Banner, Hulk's girlfriend, Betty Ross, that's her dad, is General Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross. He's like the most clear-cut antagonist to the Hulk in the comics for years and years. He's a general. He's trying to hunt the Hulk down. He's trying to get the Hulk's blood and genetics, and he's a weapon. He's trying to get this weapon under control for the U.S. military. Now, in the comics, somewhere along the way, Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross was made into Red Hulk. Now, this story was classically terrible in that it was drawn beautifully by Ed McGuinness, and parts of the story were very enjoyable and entertaining, but Jeff Loeb, the writer, chose to do it as a murder mystery, and it didn't really work because Thunderbolt Ross has a mustache, a very classic handlebar mustache, and the Red Hulk doesn't. And basically, to keep this as like a mystery, it's like, oh, well, it can't be Thaddeus because he has the handlebar mustache. If Red Hulk was Thaddeus, he'd have a handlebar mustache. But the reveal was, it was Thunderbolt Ross. despite whatever fucking nonsense that they were putting together to try to cover up the fact that, no, that's completely obvious. Thunderbolt Ross has a fucking mustache. Doesn't make any sense. Granted, it didn't make any sense to do it as a fucking murder mystery, as a mystery to be solved. Who is he? The fucking mustache gives it away. So, like, you have him shave the mustache, find out who he is. Don't do that. So it wasn't the best route to take. But he wasn't the president. And he didn't fight fucking Captain Falcon. Sorry, Cap Falcon, the Sam Wilson. I'll tell you that much. There is no juice in the squeeze to show an image of Captain Falcon facing off against the Red Hulk. What does that even mean? Like, if you wanted to do something about race, you put him up against the Red Skull. Bring back the fucking Red Skull, and get into it that way. Don't attach any of that stuff of that anti-Captain America is black thing to the President of the United States, to America, to Americans. We're the melting pot, man. For all stupidity that, like, we are all convinced, or all the super liberals are super convinced of all this evil racism that's everywhere inherent in society, which, generally speaking, we used to call ignorance. There's plenty of ignorant people. And I don't mean like ignorant, but most people are not spending a large part of their fucking day calculating how to get rid of this race or that race or whatever else. It's not happening, man. The majority of people are wrapped up in their own fucking garbage trying to get through their life. And America is the melting pot. We are the statue. There is literally a statue of a lady, not too fucking far from where I'm recording this right now, holding a torch, holding a light for the tired masses yearning to breathe free. We are a melting pot. We're not a racist nation. Us fighting the Nazis makes sense. Us fighting Nazis within America, I know that this has become the fucking main talking point for the freaking liberal left. But I'm telling you, I'm in the message boards. I'm in the politics. I'm in the geek culture. I'm in it. I'm inside it. I am looking at the people. Yeah, there are some people who aren't awesome people. But there are no Mussolinis, there are no Hitlers, there is nobody openly talking about taking away women's rights. There's nobody openly talking about genocide, hurting people who don't look like you. There is none of that at all. And in the past few years, I have watched this group, which I'm not a part of, but I'm a part of in that I'm one with everybody. I consider myself more of a liberal, but I'm not a part of you guys anymore. You guys are fucking, ugh. And I was never really a part of it anyway. I'm in the center. I like to be in the center. I like to be able to judge everything from an even vantage point. And from this even vantage point, the fucking right is filled with black people and Hispanics and women and other people who have come to recognize a lot of similar things that I've recognized about the Liberal Party, despite how much I love some of the things that they're about and would like to, perpetuate and give energy to a decent amount of things that they represent. The practical application of the party is dishonest, disingenuine. There's so many things. They just are taking advantage of bleeding heart people like myself. Very liberal-minded people who want to do good things. They take advantage of us, and they don't really give us any change or anything. Anyway, as people have woken up to this, a lot of them have migrated over to the Republican Party, that's what people do in America. I'm voting Democrat this year. I'm voting Republican this year. I've tended to be a liberal, left-leaning, but when they do things that I don't like, I go, I'm voting independent. And I'll vote for Jill Stein or something like that. And vote for my health, or vote for the environment, or vote for something, and try to make a statement that way with my vote. But a lot of people, just because you demonize the right, doesn't mean that they're not going to go vote for the right. They recognize we're in a two-party system, and they're like, nah, this left isn't working for me. We're heading over here. And there's been a lot of support over there. Not knowing this has led them to create this Captain America 4 in an incubator of this, like, what do you call it? The mirror universe? What is it? The echo chamber that they're in. Like, they wrote this movie in an echo chamber. And from the perspective of the echo chamber, this was the best choice. This was a great idea. If they weren't in the echo chamber, they'd know that it wasn't. They'd know as a fan, the best thing to do would have been to kept Captain America going, whether either you bring him back. I mean, you could have concluded his story like that if you want, but then bring him back in the next storyline for some reason. Have him come back in this one by the end of it, or have him come back immediately. Secondarily, if you're a comic book reader, you're interested in these things, the first person with fucking dibs on that shield, his name is Bucky Barnes. He was in World War II fighting along Captain America. He's become a super soldier, and he was Captain America in the comics before Falcon was. And that was actually awesome. Bucky Captain America was an excellent change. The story was interesting. A lot of great tales got told. The design for his costume that was designed by Alex Ross is beautiful. By the time they switched the Captain America thing over to Sam Wilson, that seemed more earned. And I would say that Sam Wilson's transition to Cap was one of the more, I'll say, begrudgingly supported decisions that was made at that time. I don't know if it was Brave New World. I forget what it's called. There was an initiative at Marvel, All New Marvel, or some other bullshit. And, and he was part of it. A lot of big push for a lot of female characters and representation and all this stuff. And honestly, the new face of Marvel, Captain America, Sam Wilson, kind of seemed like the most righteous. You were like, oh, well, he's been around a long time. Bucky just had a chance to do it. Those stories with Bucky were really good. Maybe they'll tell some great stories. Well, honestly, I didn't read many of them. Mostly because I heard how bad they were. There was some stories here or there that I read or glanced at or looked at or whatever. But in general, I was very disappointed in how he was handled. They did make so much of it about race and all these things. And I mean, it's like that's the opportunity to show so many things of colorblindness. Show how so many things are exactly the same. Somebody, Bo Burnham, I think is the comedian, he did an amazing joke in one of his stand-up bits where he goes, white people do this and black people do this, and we're never going to be able to get out of a constant inner conflict because we're so different. We're all just going to end up killing each other. And I howled when I heard that joke. Because that's what I think every single time I hear any of these, white people do this, black people do that. I'm like, and we're never going to be able to get over our stupid petty differences, and we might as well all just cut off our own head. I'm just like, oh, God. You're a part of the problem. It's people like you talking about all this shit and pointing out all these silly superficial differences that don't really mean anything. 99.99999% of us are the same, the same cells and blood and organs and body parts. And it's just all the same shit, guys. We all got skin. We all got hair. We all got eyes. We all got a nose. We all got ears. Easy shit. Easy to really figure out. So this fucking Trump derangement, let's go send Black Captain America to both physically and morally beat up the Donald and tell him what a bad guy he is. Bad idea. Bad idea. And there are some stories that could have been told with Captain Falcon. If they had given me this as an assignment and I had to do it, I could figure out how to make this great for people. And and I don't know what necessarily I would do off the top of my head. It would be as close to a traditional kind of Captain America thing as humanly possible. And I wouldn't necessarily be making such a huge fucking deal over the fact that Falcon has become Captain America, except in the fact that Falcon thinks it's a big deal. It's a big deal to him, not because he's black, but because he's Sam Wilson, the best friend of Steve Rogers, the longtime sidekick, supporter, admirer, confidant of a truly wonderful, heroic man. Not only Does Sam have all the reverence that your average person has for Steve because he's such a good guy who's done so many good things? But he has been honored with friendship from Steve. And he knows Steve personally. He knows that Steve isn't just nice when he's on the cover of the comic book. He's nice at home. He's nice in the in-betweens. He's nice at the bar. He's nice when they're just having a little small moment between each other. He loves that guy. And now he's been given the responsibility to shoulder the weight of the mantle of Captain America. Pfft. What an honor it is. You know, if anything, it's an honor, I'm sure in Sam's mind, that I'm black. And that didn't mean anything to Steve. Steve was colorblind. Steve is colorblind. Steve believes in an ideal. And I believe in it too. I want to represent what Steve represented. I want to live up to the legacy of Steve Rogers. Doesn't that sound nice? Just talking about that right now? Like hearing that? That sounds cool. That sounds like Captain America means something. And there's a new guy coming in. And because Captain America means something, it has to mean something to him. And watching that person pull the meaning out of it, watching that person struggle and work hard to do the same things that Cap does, struggling in ways that Cap might not have struggled, and figuring out what is the difference between Captain America, Sam Wilson, and Steve Rogers, Captain America. What is it about Falcon that is the difference? You know, and there's like so many, you know, you make freaking Falcon about bringing people together. You know, you make them, it's like, you know, I want to, if I'm going to be this thing, I want to use it to unify the country. I want to, you know, that kind of, go the opposite of the race thing of like, I'm black and I'm Captain America. So now everybody's all divided and upset. Like, I'm black and I'm Captain America. And I want to use this mantle, use this symbol to unite our country, to bring us together. Right? Cool stuff. You know, it's disappointing to me. You know, my kids sometimes they'll be, or kids and friends, you know, they'll hear me after a movie, and usually I try to watch the movie with like really kind eyes so I can enjoy as much of the movie as possible. But if I come out and, you know, you ask me like some specific questions about the movie and I start thinking about it, I probably have some pretty quick critiques, you know, and usually kind of scathing because I think like a robot. So like, I'm not going to not say something because it might be insulting to the movie or something. Like, who's there? Nobody's there. It's like me and my girlfriend or me and my kids. And like, they're like, what do you think about this character? I'm like, oh, that character sucked because, you know, and they'll be like, wow, you didn't like the movie or anything. And I'm like, no, I did not like the movie, but I'm a writer and I really try to do this all at a very, very high level. And I try to be a useful editor even, you know, where I can like look at something and assess how well the story, the characters, whatever it is, are coming through. When Aaron Sparrow, kudos, Aaron Sparrow, he just crossed 12,000 on his Kickstarter on his way to beat Fucking For Our Future, you know, my last Kickstarter. If you did not back my campaign for Fucking For Our Future, a King of Kings, please, if you love me, give that love to my best friend. Aaron Sparrow, he's one of the best people I know. He's so fucking talented. I've worked on this book a little bit just to help him make sure that Kneel Before Doomface is really just ready for prime time, even though it always was. Just helped him a little bit with like some framing and stuff, just to put the best face forward. But this book is awesome. Great covers. Speaking of the devil, I just got Aaron. Aaron just texted me as I'm talking about him. Yeah, so Kneel Before Doomface, it's up. It's live on Kickstarter right now. Go and order. There's great covers, great stuff. He's doing like a little statue. There's a whole bunch of really cool stuff that he's doing. But the book is great. Hysterical. It's basically about Dr. Doom if he had disappeared and then he comes back after a long time and is dropped into modern day, like a hyper liberal. He's in like an amalgamation of like San Francisco and Los Angeles. It's very clever, very cool. Highly recommend it. Aaron Sparrow's book. Anyway, the notion that, like you turn Captain America black, and then like inherently people like are like upset about that because he's black or whatever. I really don't think that's true. I don't think it's true at all. I think it just hasn't been done long enough. I mean, in an ideal world, we should be on Captain America 7 right now. And they should have just done like 4 more installments of Captain America as we get to watch him fucking beat up a bunch of new cool bad guys from the comics that we haven't been able to see brought to life. I'd love to see the Serpent Society brought to life on the big screen. And there's really there's a ton of cool different characters from various storylines over the years. Seeing Captain America give up on being Captain America and become Nomad. That's cool. That's a story I'd love to see. And that's a good moment to have Bucky or Captain Falcon or whatever take up the mantle of Captain America because he's decided he's not going to do it, blah, 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 blah. Then you can have these storylines going. Then Steve Rogers still exists. Then there's a need for a new Captain America. Like the idea that Captain America's dead, so there's a need for a new Captain America. No, there's not a need. There's an artificial need created by you who killed Captain America. However, if the story changes so that Captain America, Steve Rogers, decides, I don't want to be Captain America anymore, the fucking government is disillusioned me, and I'm not about this. That's an amazing story because now Captain America still exists, but he's not using the name, so the name is up for grabs, and then those other stories can be told as well alongside it. Suffice to say, none of these reasonable ways of approaching this, the future of Captain America in cinema is being approached. We're not getting perpetual James Bond movie after movie after movie of Steve Rogers, which is really what we should be getting. This was a big mistake. We're not getting the Winter Soldier as Captain America. There's a lot of interest in the Winter Soldier. Half of the interest in the Thunderbolts trailer is that the Winter Soldier's in the movie. They literally use him as a joke. You got Red Guardian. If you watch the trailer, he goes, "Oh, he's the Winter Soldier. He's so cool. He is so cool. It's the Winter Soldier. He's so cool." Yeah, you could have brought that into Captain America 4, and you could have made it matter. You could have made it count. Like, there's so many fucking things, man. It's just... This is crazy. And it's like, and there's like some sort of implication too that's like Isaiah Bradley, who is the Black Captain America from the Truth miniseries, which is a really cool miniseries that Marvel did back in the day, where they revealed a secret program that had black soldiers that were being experimented on during World War II. And like having Falcon Captain America dealing with that, unfortunately, because his race, it makes it like about race. It's like these two guys, they're both black. That's why he cares, because look, he's black. Versus they could have made it a colorblind kind of unity thing if it was the Winter Soldier and he's dealing with Isaiah Bradley and he's there in support of Isaiah and all this stuff. Because that leap of, oh, well, these people come from different places. Yeah, they come from different places, but they're together and they're all about it. When it's like, oh, these people, maybe they came from the same places. Okay, well, there's less unity there, and it's more about this group and that group and that group. So, like, all of this shit here is just so broken, Steve Rogers should have been the first choice, just to continue making Captain America movies. Turning him into Nomad should have been the second choice. Get rid of him in a different way. Don't kill him. And then maybe it would have been appropriate to make Sam Wilson the Falcon. Or 3, Winter Soldier becomes the next Captain America. And then eventually, the other dude does. And you give freaking Winter Soldier like 3 movies. You let him be in the Avengers movie for a freaking spell. And let Falcon continue as a character who's there. And then in phase 7 or 8, what the fuck it is in the future, yeah, now you get Captain America of a third variety. It's Anthony Mackie. He's playing the Captain America thing. And each one of these Avengers movies gets to be a little bit different because there's a different person playing Cap and there's a different... Like, that would have been great. But okay. You wanted to jump straight ahead into the Falcon Captain America because you wanted to get a black superhero on mainstream, and which is racist in itself. It's just like it's like you're like picking things for the wrong reasons, not based on the story, not based on what feels right or is right for the moment or whatever, or is based on any of the fucking stories that people have grown up loving and would love to see recreated on the big screen. Not so much. So no, we've got Anthony Mackie as Sam Wilson Captain America. And the screening doesn't go well. The screening goes worse than the Marvels. So they go back to the drawing board. Now, there is a famous, some famous quotes from Anthony Mackie on sets during the reshoots. Initially, apparently they were shooting, and Anthony started flipping out, going, "What are we doing? We don't have a script. Just show me a script. Show me what we are doing. This is a waste of all our time. We're just going to have to shoot this all again once we get pages." So Anthony Mackie was nonplussed about the experience that he's having. There's a term that's come to be called scrapbooking. A lot of modern films are shot in this sort of scrapbooking capacity, where they shoot different scenes and they shoot alternate versions, and they'll shoot it like this and they'll shoot it like that, and then they decide later on which way they want to do it. And essentially, it's because these people aren't artists and they're not writers, and they end up using, test audiences and test screenings and focus groups. And, well, the focus group didn't like that. Let me tell you, focus group is the worst way to fucking get anything. You know, if I take a song that I wrote, and it's a great song, and I finished it, and I go to somebody and I go, "Hey, what do you think of this?" And if they pick up from the "what do you think of this" that I'm asking them to scrutinize it, they will scrutinize it just because they think I've been asking them to scrutinize it. So they will give me every piece of scrutiny that they can give. If I just say, "Hey, I finished this song, what do you think?" Most people will evaluate it from where it is, and they will give you an opinion based on where it is, what it is, and this is how I feel about it. But if you make it like, "Hey, we're still in the thing. We could go back and reshoot this whole movie." Oh, my God. Oh, yeah, you're going to get fucking notes. These test audiences, these test screenings are such a waste of time. It's so stupid. Really, like, just stupid what they are doing to themselves, creatively, what the studios are doing in terms of like how much money they spend, the conversations that they're having about the opinions of people who don't know how to fucking write, who don't know how to tell stories. I mean, it's like, who knows who you might get in any one of these audiences at any random time. Like, it's such a crapshoot. You never know who you're going to get. You never know what they're going to say. Opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one, and they all stink, is really a true statement. So this is not a process that I recommend for anybody. However, these things can tell you a lot of things generally about your film and whatnot. And these early test screenings told them that the audience hated it. They told them what the fucking election has just told us, that the bulk of the audience doesn't get with the idea that that Hitler is a Hitler, that Hitler is a Trump, that Trump is a Hitler. The majority does not think that. I was literally on the phone yesterday with a great friend of mine who is convinced of that. And I was like, kind of trying to reasonably talk him down, just as somebody who's been observing a lot of things that run completely counter to the conversation, and practical things, interactions with people in the world that are, in theory, being demonized as these crazy Republicans all the time. And I'm telling you, they're not. They're not racist. They're not sexist. They're not phobes. Some of them are assholes. And that's basically the biggest compliment I can give them in terms of, what is being denoted as racism and sexism. But they're assholes. But they're not spending any time trying to prevent you from having a good life. Really, very few people are, except for the biggest pockets on planet Earth. People with the most money, they are spending a lot of time and a lot of money trying to make their life better and yours worse. Trust me on that. So this screening should have been a huge indicator to people in general. Also, how many times are they going to do this same thing? They did it in Wonder Woman 1984, where they've got the Maxwell Lord characters, kind of like this Trump character. It's funny, man, because like who you think Trump is and who like other people generally see Trump to be, it's like night and day.
two different people. I'm like, like it takes me a while before I'm like, oh, is this a Trump analog? Is that that's the thing? Like, this is who they think Trump is? I've talked about this before. I'm not a big Trump fan. I really, as a person, he and I are kind of diametrically opposed in a lot of ways. Like, I'd never be caught dead with a gold apartment, keeping up with the Joneses and all that kind of stuff. That's like superficial shit that I don't believe in. However, he's got 4 kids. Or how many kids has he got? More than that. I don't know. He's got a lot of kids like me. Being a parent changes how you look at the world. Being a grandparent and a godparent and having family. Having family can be one thing. But, you're a boy, you come up. You really want to take care of this world. There's a legacy. There's your name. There's your face, who you are, what you represent. And I really see... I don't see somebody who wants to be thought of as Hitler. I don't see somebody who wants his family to think of him as Hitler. I don't see somebody who wants his grandchildren to, be thought of as Hitler. And people already think of him as Hitler. Yeah, they may be, but there's a certain point where in order for him to actually be Hitler, he'd have to start doing things that then would be tied to his name forever. And I don't believe that he wants to do any of that. I believe that he is egotistical and selfish enough that he would like to be well remembered on planet Earth. And he'd like people to be glad he was here. He'd like his name, when it's in lights, to elicit happiness, not negativity. So, there's a lot of people who, really seem convinced that, oh, no, he wants to control everything. I don't actually see that. I see a man who is trying to demonstrate his worth, and he's the child of a famous rich person, Trump. He's coming from a family that means something. As a guy who comes from a family that has a name that means something, I understand the burden that comes with that, and I understand what it does to us kids who grow up under it. And it tends to make us overachievers in a lot of different ways. And I think what a lot of people are subscribing to, badness from him, are this overachieving thing. Anyway, I hope. But 4 years, we didn't go to war. There's a lot of other good things that went on during that time that, you kind of have to investigate yourself to find out. But RFK Jr., Tulsi Gabbard, a lot of reasonable people within the mix of his party. And I'm hoping, as so many other people are hoping, that this is could be good for the country. Now, recognizing this to some degree, they went and reshot the movie for the first time. And the first bit of reshoots, they essentially paid to do the movie again. Giancarlo Esposito was added to the cast in a role he's completely disconnected from from other things. There's for those of you who don't have any idea who might be showing up in this movie, Harrison Ford is going to be playing Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, which is a weird one because he's replacing Sam Elliott, who not only is a completely different human being, but had the handlebar mustache that is completely associated with Thunderbolt Ross. And in this movie, of course, Harrison Ford doesn't have the Thunderbolt mustache because the handlebar mustache, because he becomes Red Hulk, and Red Hulk doesn't have the fucking mustache. So a bit confusing for the audience. I don't think anybody is going to realize that this is the same character as the previous character. And they may be confused when they see Liv Tyler playing Betty Ross. Oh, daddy, my daddy the president, and all this shit. So you got Giancarlo Esposito playing Sidewinder, who got added later in the movie. And he's a bit of a weird one. Sidewinder, he's an old man. Giancarlo, it's an old man up against a fucking superpowered dude. Once you look like an old man, you clearly haven't been given any sort of super serum that's keeping you fit and whatever for the rest of your life. So to bring in an old man to fight, that seems like such a stupid idea. And Giancarlo Esposito, it's just he's the go-to, put him in anything. I mean, he's great. Sometimes he's great, but sometimes it's just a waste. So then you got Tim Blake Nelson returning as the leader. Samuel Stearns, he's a guy with the big brain who's green from the Hulk comics. So again, we got the leader showing up in a Captain America movie. Not exactly a promise being fulfilled for any of us. They're introducing a new Falcon. They got what's his name? Seth. Wow. name is Colby Lopez, but we know him as Seth Rollins. That's hysterical. Colby Lopez. That's a big difference from Seth Rollins. He's playing. I forget who he's playing. They don't have it listed down here. I think he was supposed to be playing one of the Snake Men. I mean, who knows if all these people are going to show up in the movie? So they reshoot the whole thing and they take out some major elements of these woke elements because basically like the Trump analog stuff and things that people didn't like. Well, the reshot movie apparently didn't do any better. It didn't do any better. Well, and think about this, right? Because they probably had a cohesive but offensive movie. If 70% of your audience is like, not only do we not like Trump, we like Trump. We like Trump enough to vote for him. You got to imagine there's the remaining 30%, at least 5% of them, they don't like him enough to vote for him, but they don't hate him. He's just an annoying politician, whatever. At least 5, we'll say. So leaving you with like 20% that like hate Trump, let's say. And I don't even think it's that high, honestly. I think it's like a noisy 10% who's responsible for so much of this shit. So 80 to 90% of your fucking audience is like, what is this? Why are we talking about Trump like this? Why is this movie so divisive? This is a fucking Captain America movie. Are we seriously, like, I've left my home to go to the movies to get a lecture about Trump? Are you fucking kidding? So now they go in and they rewrite this whole thing and they try to take the Trump lecture out of it. By the way, going back, for those of you who saw Falcon and the Winter Soldier on Disney+, oh my God, that show. There's positive things to say about it. It starts off okay. And, some of it was all right. But by the time you get to the final episode, which is the case with most of these Disney Plus shows, by the time you get to that final episode, you just go, wait, what? I don't understand. Like, what? In the end of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Falcon is standing in the street with a bunch of politicians, senators, and the line that he says to them after like kind of questioning them about some things that have been going on, he goes, "Do better, Senator. Do better." He told us to do better. And there's an amazing moment where he picks up the criminal who is a terrorist, who by this time the audience has come to find, fuck this woman. She doesn't care about innocent people. She's fucking crazy. And this girl dies and he picks her up like she's a fucking martyr and he flies her over to the thing or whatever. Meanwhile, an injured friend of his is in the other room. She's also been shot. It's the blonde chick who used to be Linda Carter's daughter, Sharon Carter, who had been shot. And Falcon had a relationship with her, not like a sexual relationship, but they were friends. They knew each other. He didn't know this terrorist. This terrorist has been trying to kill him. This terrorist has been trying to hurt people. And there's 2 people injured, and you lift up the terrorist and you fly them away like an angel saving somebody who deserves it. Because Falcon, like now that he's a bird and a plane, he's a Captain America and he's a bird. The winged Captain America, the angel sort of analog and allegory and visual is there constantly. American Jesus lifting up the wings of like it's kind of crazy. So he doesn't save his friend, he saves the terrorist. That was just bizarre moments on that show. And then you come to this movie, and now the movie's just going to play up the race thing more and just make it more like somehow it's fundamentally wrong for him to be Captain America, which like, why are we even having that fucking conversation? It's so stupid. It shouldn't be fundamentally wrong. It's kind of wrong because Bucky should be Captain America first. It's kind of wrong because we don't want Steve to be gone yet because we haven't been told so many of the greatest Steve Rogers stories that have ever been written down in comics. If those stories exist, if we're still asking for them to be told, if fucking Chris Evans is still alive, Marvel Studio, what the fuck? Like, why not? Why not just do the thing that we want? Honestly, after everything that went down with these reshoots and everything, they should have scrapped this movie completely. They should have just went, done. Forget about it. Forget about it. Forget about this fucking Gavin Mac. Nobody wants to see this fucking movie. Seriously. They should have just scrapped it. Trying to gut that film and try to remove the pieces of it that are distasteful to your mainstream audience, that are partisan. What you do is you just create a very uneven movie that still has all of the fucking fingerprints of your stupid reverse racism and gotcha culture and all this bullshit that has been ham-fisted onto the character for all the wrong reasons. This isn't, oh great, it's Sam Wilson finally as Captain America. Let's celebrate by telling some of his greatest stories. And granted, Sam, the pickings are a little slim for Sam's greatest stories, but there are some interesting stories. There are some interesting character combinations, villain combinations, and things like that were neat, that were good ideas, that they could build upon and do something better with. If they just honor the circumstances of everything that they're doing and apply it accordingly. And this is to say, if you're going to do the Sam Wilson Captain America, okay, cool. But let's get Bucky Barnes in there, and let's have a good reason why Bucky doesn't do it or doesn't want to do it or whatnot. Let's satisfy the audience who has questions about different things, and let's make sure that the audience is like, okay, cool, I see what you did there, I see why you did that, and I appreciate that you did that because that's going to allow you to tell these kind of stories or show these characters or these things, which is something that I do want. Because remember, the fundamental problem here is just, it should be Steve. It should be Steve. Steve was Captain America for 60 plus fucking years or whatever. It should still be Steve. We've only told 5 Steve Rogers Captain America stories. There are so many more to tell, and they're great. Why do this? Why blow through ages of great stories, skipping over everything good, just to get to some of your worst selling Captain America comics? Yeah, Captain Falcon, he didn't do good, man. The Winter Soldier Captain America did better. I was reading that when that was going on, and those were great. I really liked Bucky as Cap, and it was fun, and you didn't mind that he was gone because there were some interesting things. Granted, you wanted Steve to come back. And granted, when Steve came back, you were like, yeah, Steve's back. Because usually it's like if a Bucky becomes Captain America, it's supposed to say things about Bucky. Bucky as Captain America is different, and it says things about Bucky, the ways in which the Captain America is different. So that's a cool thing to kind of put them in those shoes for a second, see the ways they're different, bring out some of those things, and then put them back to who they were, bring them back to Winter Soldier. And now there's a little bit more history. Yeah, I was Captain America for a little while. I filled in. It's cool. It's really, it's a very cool situation. So they essentially filmed the movie twice. Shoots, reshoots, and now we got trailers. And there's, of course, the trailer for, for Thunderbolts, and the trailer for the new Captain America. And they kind of dropped, I guess, around the same time. I think there was maybe a Disney presentation, like a D23 kind of thing going on in Brazil or somewhere. But Kevin Feige had made a couple little announcements, and these things came through, and there were a couple different clips and trailers and stuff that got played at these places, and then they made the rounds online. Now, Thunderbolts is frustrating for a comic book fan because, this trailer that we just saw, that's not the Thunderbolts. Not a single member of that team is an original member of the Thunderbolts. There are some characters in the movie who do eventually become Thunderbolts. Winter Soldier being one, a more recent one, and I believe that Winter Soldier was attached to the Thunderbolts because the movie studio said, we're going to attach the Winter Soldier to the Thunderbolts, and we would like you to make that canon. Can you put out a Winter Soldier-led Thunderbolts book? And then Marvel did that. So there's really no precedent. There's no fan anything for these things. Black Widow 2, yeah, she's been a member of the Thunderbolts, but she wasn't like a leading lady. She wasn't the prime time character, we have. we kind of like that character and that she's like a deadly assassin, but she doesn't have a lot of personality in the comics. And Ghost, again, somebody who doesn't have like a lot of personality, or Taskmaster. All these people are not exactly, I don't know, the droids that we're looking for in the comics. The comics star Baron Zemo leading the Masters of Evil, who have not been introduced in the films, which is part of the reason why they can't do Thunderbolts the way it's meant to be done. The Thunderbolts were a supervillain team who was in disguise as superheroes so that they could commit crime and stuff. But eventually, essentially, the heroic aspects of the things win out, and they're all these villains who are disguising themselves as these heroes to, get good press and, trick everybody into trusting them. Later on, the bad guys who, turn into good guys who are left, they get a new leader, and Hawkeye shows up, and he's leading the Thunderbolts. And I've read a lot of those books, and they were great. And at various times, there's been other people who have come on to, lead the Thunderbolts or like help out along the way. But generally speaking, it was bad guys who were trying to kind of rehabilitate themselves. Later on, the Thunderbolts took on a vibe more like the vibe that you see in this movie, a Suicide Squad type vibe. Thunderbolts became Marvel's Suicide Squad. And some of the worst, some of the biggest villains of the Marvel Universe were all put onto the same team. Bullseye, Venom, Green Goblin. I'm trying to remember who else was there at the time. This was it Sentry and Ares was part of the team too? I don't remember exactly. Really cool. The stuff was well written. There was a lot of really neat stories that came out during this time, and the Thunderbolts being filled with the Masters of Evil. A lot of those villains were like not exactly famous villains or people that you really know, but the Thunderbolts later, when you had Bullseye and Venom on the same team, that was something that really said something, and it was interesting and evocative, and the type of book that a person who loved comics and loved these characters would be interested in. And that version of the Thunderbolts kind of sets us up for what we have here. Eventually, I think in like the second incarnation of that Thunderbolts, Ghost was added to the team. I don't know if Taskmaster ever was. Red Guardian never was. Winter Soldier, like I said, eventually showed up. Black Widow was added in that second incarnation, and not Black Widow 1, Black Widow 2, the Yelena character. And U.S. Agent, not a member of the Thunderbolts. In general, this whole team isn't Thunderbolts type characters. So it's very strange. It's nothing that we're looking for. At the same time, we liked Red Guardian well enough. We liked Yelena. I mean, who doesn't like fucking Yelena? She's awesome. She's such a great actress. She's so charming. Winter Soldier, blah, blah, blah. You put these characters together in the same movie, and there's some charm there. There's something that makes us go, I don't know, maybe we'll like this. Maybe this will be cool. But then Captain America, people saw that fucking trailer, and they went, oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God. God, no. And now we are third reshoots. And they're not bringing the director in. So, I mean, talk about, you think we're going to have a cohesive film? The producers are running the show. It's going to have this director's name on it, even though they're bringing in a new director to direct all the reshoots they're about to do. And this person's going to be credited for a movie that they didn't direct. Think about that word. I am directing you to do this, directing this to be put there, directing this. This director is not a director. They're not directing anything. This movie's being made by committee, really. Bring in another test audience. They didn't like it. Shoot it again. Bring in another test audience. They didn't like it either. Shoot it again. And what's going to happen this next time? The fundamentals of this movie are fucked. They're all wrong. I mean, you're literally coming off of like a fucking hit piece on Donald Trump, and you're trying to write your way out of that hole that you put yourself into there, where the audience went, what? Fuck this partisan bullshit. And now you're like, well, how about this? And we'll soften this, and we'll add another character. We'll bring this in. We'll bring this person in. They don't know what they are doing right now. And trust me, at this point, third reshoot, and the rumors of people who have seen it, like how bad it is, this movie's gonna bomb. It's gonna bomb big time. And there's really some interesting stuff going on. I mean, like this reshoot, unless, what could you possibly do to save it? They removed She-Hulk from Disney Plus. I mean, that is a series that honestly, like it should be erased. It did so much damage to the MCU brand. And I mean, if I had written that She-Hulk series, it would be renewed for fucking 50 seasons because of how beneficial She-Hulk as a character and the concepts that she plays with are for the MCU, in sort of grounding it into the real world, making it something that normies can really get behind and understand, putting it into some perspective in really funny and humorous ways. Oh my God, that She-Hulk thing could have been important, could have been the linchpin for the MCU. And it was the worst thing they've done. And now, gone, bye-bye. What does that mean? And now the big announcements this week, you got the Venom Spidey crossover. It's going to be eminent. They're going to be bringing, I just saw Venom 3 with my kids, which, I don't know, I guess it was my second favorite of them. I liked the first one. The second one I hated. The second one I hated. The third one I liked better. Will it be cool to see, Venom interact with Spider-Man and like all this stuff? I don't know. I honestly don't know. Like those movies are just like bizarre to me. I kind of enjoy them. And what else we got on the horizon? The Downey Doom, Robert Downey Jr. coming in as Dr. Doom. Like I was so into Dr. Doom until they told me that it was going to be Robert Downey Jr. Is anybody else out there feel like that? I got to imagine all the hardcore fans like me were devastated by this. Like we've been waiting for Doom, a real Doom. And it feels like, well, if Robert Downey Jr.'s Doom, that's going to distract from Doom, from who the actual fucking Victor Von Doom is. I asked the question, can anything save the MCU on its current path? And when you look forward at the projected, like all the future movies and TV shows, you got this Fantastic Four movie coming, which there's a lot of things to like about some of the things that I see, but I have my doubts. I have extreme doubts. And one of the main reasons why I have doubts is because the dweeby kid from Stranger Things, not the dweeby kid, but the rock and roll nerd who would wear the leather jacket and played the D&D with them, he got cast as Johnny Storm. Johnny Storm's supposed to be this, like, hot guy. That guy's not a hot guy. He's charming. We've come to like him. He's not hot. It's like the equivalent of casting Kirsten Dunst as Mary Jane. Mary Jane's supposed to be like a bombshell supermodel. Somebody who could be a Playboy playmate. Somebody who's just buxom and voluptuous and exciting, in a physical way. And Johnny's supposed to be the male version of that. So it's just a very strange casting right there, right out of the gate. And a lot of little choices that they're making concern me. Things like them making the Fantastic Four from their own little pocket universe as opposed to being in Manhattan and all this stuff. Like, they're just going to, like, piecemeal slap all this shit together in the future in some sort of crazy multiverse thing that I don't think we're going to like. But we'll see. I've got my hopes for Fantastic Four, but I honestly, when leaks and things start coming out from the film, something tells me that there's just going to be fundamental things about that movie that the audience is going to go, ugh, nope, never mind. But, I stand to be wrong. This is just my intuition. And you got, 2 Avengers movies. You got the Kang Dynasty, which who knows if it's even going to be Kang Dynasty anymore or any of that shit now. Now I think they're changing the name. It might be the Doom War or who cares. And then Avengers Secret Wars. But what's the Avengers? What's the Avengers without Captain America and Iron Man? Just like you have to establish replacements for Captain America and Iron Man in order to do a Avengers with Captain America and Iron Man and have it mean something. If they set up as the Avengers of like Wolverine and Spider-Man, come together with, like that could be kind of cool. Hugh Jackman, Spider-Man, so who knows? There are some choices that they could make to get us somewhere that could be cool, but I'm not so sure. Shang-Chi 2. I don't think that's going to help anything in any fucking way. Armor Wars, which is now apparently going to be a film adaptation. I was super excited about Armor Wars, except I don't want to see War Machine. Well, actually, I should say, I was excited about Armor Wars being done with War Machine. I was okay with them using War Machine to tell that story because it's a classic story from the comics. It's good. And I didn't think necessarily that completely changes too many things by having War Machine be the lead. However, they showed Rhodes, War Machine, to be a Skrull in the Secret Invasion series on Disney+. That completely changes everything with Armor Wars, and that means Armor Wars literally does not have a lead. There's no lead for that show. A Skrull version of War Machine is not your lead. So now we just finally got through Agatha Darkhold Diaries. I just don't give two shits. Although I will say that my daughter Logan had heard some positive things. I watched the final episode. I just wanted to see, like, where does it end? Where does it go? And it just was not for me, man. Just some fucking soap opera CW kind of bullshit. It's just like Aubrey and her are like lesbian witches, and like it just all seemed very ham-fisted and forced and not natural. Ironheart's on its way. That one is going to be a big problem for I mean, I think people are just going to generally tune out completely, as they will to Wonder Man. And I really like that actor that they cast as Wonder Man, but barely nobody knows Wonder Man, and it doesn't look like Wonder Man. I'm sorry, Wonder Man's a white guy, and he's got a kind of a blue, black, and red suit, red eyes. He has a certain look about him. You could have made somebody look like Wonder Man, and then you should have had Wonder Man, and we saw the thing, and we went, oh yeah, that's Wonder Man. Huh? But instead you go Wonder Man, and I'm like, oh, it doesn't look like Wonder Man. I wonder if it'll be anything like Wonder Man. And I didn't read a lot of Wonder Man comics because he's not a solo artist. He's like a member of the Avengers. He's a supporting character. So who are you selling this to? Who wants to watch this? The only kind of cool things, there's some animated, you got Spider-Man Freshman Year, you got Marvel Zombies animated, and you've got What If Season 3, which my son was kind of disappointed to see that What If was ending, because that was like the one show that we generally like, even though second season was a mixed bag, and only half of it was any good. But, guys, do you see what's going on here? I mean, like, the best hopes that they've got is like Sony's Spider-Man universe taking off when they bring Venom over, and some of those things like cutting up. And I mean, like, that's the vestigial tales of other companies like Fox and Wolverine and Deadpool and the Spider-Man franchise. Those are the things that are doing the best right now. The actual MCU stuff, they can't introduce a new concept. They can't introduce a new character. They have not had any real success that is measurable, comparable to the success that they had that launched this company. Everything they have done in the past 5 years has been walking them backwards. And if this Captain America 4 and its third time reshooting is any indication, they have a long, difficult road for themselves moving forward. Anyway, I'm Jesse Blaze Snider, the coolest geek alive. I really appreciate you listening to the show. I hope you're listening to my music show every Monday. All your favorite bands suck. We're approaching episode 50 of my favorite bands. Each episode is just a showcase of my favorite band, me pointing you to the best albums that you should start with, the best songs that you should check out, and naming all the other songs that check this out too. So if you like music and you're looking to get into any new bands, go type in all your favorite bands suck, or type in Jesse Blaze and pull up the thing and just go see all the different bands that I've done. This past week I did Exhibit. Week before that I did All American Rejects. I did Fun. No, I haven't done Linkin Park. I did The Offspring and Rage Against the Machine and Flight of the Conchords and Tenacious D and rap artists and punk artists and rock artists and just everything in between. Lots of humor. I love humor music. Anyway, if you love music, please check out that show. And also every Friday now I do a esoteric wisdom show, teaching what the Freemasons teach their pupils and the Illuminati and all these secret societies, universal laws, hermeticism, and general conspiracy fucking facts. If you want to hear about that stuff, check out my show, Everything They Don't Want You to Know. Otherwise, you can come join me on Saturday. I don't know, I'm going to be doing like a coolest pick, coolest classic, something. I haven't picked out which one it'll be this week. And I hope you will join me again next Wednesday for another fucking awesome episode of The Coolest Geek Alive. I love you guys. Care Bear Stare. You've been listening to Coolest Geek Alive with me, your host, Jesse Blaze Snider. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe for more excellent geek culture content. Thanks for listening.
It's my favorite part. Isn't that heavy? I played that. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Coolest alive. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Stay with your tribe. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Revenge of the Geeks. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Week after weeks. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Laughing with you. It's gonna be fucking awesome. And crying sometimes too. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Spelling it out. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Making you shout. I'm a genius. I got lyrics coming out me bum for days. You like that? It's a kazoo solo. I played that too. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Talking some shit. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Living your shit. My voice is fucking awesome. Food in our mouth. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Get in the mouth. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Tell all your friends. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Call right or text. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Raising the bar. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Straight to the stars. It's gonna be fucking awesome. It's starting soon. Straight to the top. Awesome. Passing the moon. It's gonna be fucking awesome. On with the show. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Ready, set, go. It's going to be fucking awesome. Fucking awesome. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Just wait. You'll see. You'll all see.
The podcast playground.